we have to talk obviously about WFP in New York and this mayoral race that's coming up. Um, but and that's why you're here, and I'm excited to hear from you. But I want to just name once again the absurd moment that your city is going through, given Eric Adams and his just like complete capitulation to Donald Trump in order to get his bribery charges dropped. Today, I believe, three Manhattan prosecutors either resigned or threatened, like they're about to resign, instead of say that they were in the wrong by actually pursuing this case against Eric Adams for bribery charges. And they're like, I can't do that. Comes after, I believe, another like I think a prosecutor in DOJ did the same. They're like, I'm not lying. He actually did this stuff. So if you're going to do political purity on me, it's not going to work. I'd rather resign. Just explain the mood of the city and how insane it is to have your mayor kind of in this extortion scheme with the president of the United States.
Yeah, it's obvious to New Yorkers that Eric Adams is in it for himself. And he is trying to get a get out of jail free card. And that is his priority. And he is willing to sell the city, to sell our people, to sell our residents down the river to get himself free. And so New Yorkers are over him. The few people who were still trying to hang on as like Eric Adams supporters, once the bribery became absolutely real and like so like it was like in our face, people were like, that's it. He's over with. He's done with. We're ready for a new mayor. And like that, even just like when we want to talk about the mayoral election, it's very rare that an incumbent mayor has this many people challenging them to take them out. And the reason why we have so many people challenging an incumbent is because everyone knows he's weak. Everyone knows New Yorkers are over him, and we are ready for a fresh start. And we need someone who's uncompromised, who can lead the city in this moment. And so New Yorkers are tired. Like Eric Adams is a joke. You know, he's the mayor who's out here partying. He's not the mayor who's running the city. He doesn't care that it's cleaned up. He declared war on the rats. The rats are winning. Eric Adams is losing. And New Yorkers are just tired of him, and we want something new. We deserve something new.
Yeah, I love it. War on the rats. Meanwhile, he is the number one rat, just like ratting out his entire community to ICE, really. I mean, this is what's interesting to me is always like the mood. Before we move on, like, let's just talk about the media. Like, how I've seen a couple clips of Adams kind of being taken to task by New York media, but we kind of know, like, I used to live there, you know, whether it's the Post or whether it's New York One or whomever, like whether it's radio, like how are the media treating Adams? Is he a joke? Is he the punchline? Are people like, all right, this guy's gonna be gone no matter what come November?
I think people are pretty confident he's going to be gone no matter what. Everyone's eyes are on the Democratic primary. Everyone's eyes on the upcoming election. He claims he's running for re-election. We have yet to see it. He did not submit petitions to be in the Democratic primary. He claims that he's going to run as an independent. We'll see if he collects petitions to be on the ballot for that. I think many of us are questioning if Eric Adams is actually really running for mayor. We believe he stayed in office as part of a bargaining chip in case charges were pressed on him. He can offer resignation as a concession as part of his get out of jail free card, right? So he was staying in office essentially because it was the only thing that gave him any leverage in fighting his court case. And so he's been out for himself. We knew it all along. We learned our lesson, and we're ready to get rid of Eric Adams and get a new mayor.
Well, let me ask you then about Cuomo, right? So we know Andrew Cuomo is running. First of all, the independent thing I want to talk about, but Andrew Cuomo, this guy with a terrible rap sheet, no matter what the issue is, obviously, most recently, COVID mishandling when it came to nursing homes, the sexual harassment that is well documented in his own office. This guy is, he's really been toxic politically, but all these toxic politicians are coming back around. And now that Trump has been reelected, of course, Cuomo, who says he gets along well with Trump, is rearing his head again. What's the reaction? He's got the name recognition. We know that. But is there do you think that Eric Adams is complete failure as a mayor and kind of like buffoonery is making Cuomo somehow look more appetizing? Can you break that down? What do you think?
I mean, I think Cuomo is really coasting off of name recognition right now. Let's be totally clear. His dad was a well-beloved politician for years.
Mm-hmm.
And Cuomo left office in scandal, like you said. And so right now he's polling high, but he's polling high because New Yorkers really weren't paying attention to the election, I think, until now. People are starting to hone in. I think after the November election, we all were tired. We all like put it all on the line and we just wanted a break from politics.
Yeah.
I get that. Voters are just like, I need a minute to breathe. And so pollsters are calling them. And of course, they're saying yes to the only name they really recognize and know. But the reality is Cuomo is... it's time for Cuomo to leave our politics. Cuomo is the reason for most of the problems we see in New York City right now. And we want to remind voters of that. Like you said, the Department of Justice said Cuomo sexually harassed over a dozen women in his office. Like that is a fact. And he does not deserve to still be in office. The reason why our subways are crumbling is because when Cuomo was governor, he starved the MTA and literally sent money from the MTA to upstate private ski resorts. He literally did that. We have people who are experiencing mental health crisis all across our streets because when Andrew Cuomo was governor, he decided to eliminate mental health beds in New York City. Mm-hmm. And during COVID, everyone thinks he's the star of COVID. During COVID, he tried to close New York City hospitals. This man does not care about New York City. He does not care about New Yorkers. And we really have to stand up to him. And so I think what we're telling New Yorkers or reminding everyone is we do not need to replace one scandal-ridden politician with another scandal-ridden politician. We can and deserve better. And now Republicans are coming after Cuomo for lying to Congress. And so he'll be just as compromised as Eric Adams and unable to fight Trump because he'll be beholden to trying to stay out of jail. And so he is not the solution to the problem.
No, I mean, that is clear. I guess I have a myriad of questions related to this, but I do want to talk about the general election because Eric Adams saying he's going to run as an independent, but again, he's got to get the petition signatures to even get on the ballot, which is funny that an incumbent doesn't automatically get onto the ballot, but he'll probably get them somehow. But this changes the game a little bit. Cuomo is going to be running in the Democratic primary, obviously. Eric Adams won't be. But like, how does Eric Adams running in the general change the makeup for what you're asking primary voters to do, and the fact that this is ranked choice voting, so you get to list 1 through 5, if you even list 5, and so like what is that? How does that change sort of like really the goal of getting someone who isn't Cuomo or Eric Adams in office?
Yeah, so ranked choice is for our primary process. And then we will have our general election. And it's interesting in New York. It might be a really fun general election because everyone's used to just the two-party system. And what will happen is the Dems will have their candidate after the primary. The Republicans have already identified their candidate. The Conservative Party has a line in New York. They typically have the same candidate as the Republican. We're not sure who they're putting on their line, so that's a question. Jim Baldwin's a candidate who's running as an independent already. Mm-hmm. Eric Adams says he's going to be an independent. And then the Working Families Party has our own line in New York. And so it can be a really interesting election around who voters can choose from in the general election that is never usually this contested, with the minor parties having this much play. So we will see. I think, there's a reality of that Eric Adams' base of voters are pretty much the same as Andrew Cuomo's base. But they have the same path to victory. And so what it would mean is that if Andrew Cuomo did win the Democratic primary, which we're doing everything we can to stop that, him and Eric Adams are competing for the same base of voters.
Right.
And that does make the field more open for another candidate,
spicier,
to emerge. And you just need to have the majority. Unlike the primary, the person has to get to 50% with the ranked choice. That's how we get to a winner it's only one round in the general election. Whoever has the majority of votes is the next mayor of New York City.
Interesting. And so, I mean, that makes I think it is a benefit to progressive candidates that Eric Adams is not in this primary, especially when it comes to ranked choice and really focusing on the enemy, which is Cuomo. And I know WFP is saying, do not rank Cuomo. That's what you're saying. That is the line. Don't rank Cuomo. My question, you guys have a sort of a quadruple endorsement. You've endorsed 4 candidates. Brad Lander, Zohran Mamdani, who's been on this show, Adrienne Adams, Zellnor Myrie. My concern with the strategy, and maybe it changes for you guys, and you tell me, is that by building, like talking about Cuomo so much, it almost like reinforces his name when you really want to put forward your candidate, your name, your people. What's your response to that?
Yeah, we absolutely understand. We are trying to minimize how much we talk about Cuomo, but we do need to remind voters of what he's done and why he doesn't deserve a second chance in our politics.
Sure.
And so we have to he can't go unopposed. I think we have to set the record straight. Women have to tell the story. We have to make sure we understand all the harm he caused for the years he was in office. But yes, we did our research and we ranked choice voting. This is only our second mayoral election using ranked choice voting. So it's still a new system New Yorkers are getting used to. And what we found out is the last time we had it was in 2021. We were in the wake of the pandemic. Shit was happening. People were feeling, the uprisings were happening, the backlash of the uprisings, everything was like happening in turmoil. And New Yorkers really tried this new system, even though the political ecosystem didn't, right? Like everyone was like, we're endorsing one candidate. All the unions in New York endorsed one person. And even the left and the progressives kind of like ran against each other. And the party endorsed 3 people, but we didn't get them to work together. So this year we're like, wait, let's re-examine ranked choice and let's see how it works. And what we realize is that candidates are good ambassadors to their base.
Yep.
And they are valid, credible ambassadors. So if they say, vote for me, vote for these other good people, people will listen. And so what we're saying is that our slate, our candidates have a history of fighting for New Yorkers. They are committed to standing up against Trump, and they're committed to working together to defeat the billionaires. And they're ready to fight for working people. And so we endorse 4 candidates who are ready to work together. And we're saying to New Yorkers, rank the slate. And we're going to spend a lot of time making sure New Yorkers get to know the slate. They're going to make sure they introduce the other slate candidates in their district. And so if you want to know more about our candidates, you can go to ranktheslate.nyc and see and learn about all of them. And you can pick your favorite. We're like, everyone like tries to whisper to me who their favorite candidate is. Pick your favorite. It's fine, but your favorite can't win without the whole slate. They need the slates, like they have to be ranked as someone's number 2 or 3 in order to win. And that is our strategy for propelling one of our candidates to victory. And so we understand that, but we will talk about the beautiful things about our slate candidates. We will say their names. We will do all that work, but we wanted to help voters focus on who were the ones that were the most valuable and who were committed to fighting on their behalf. Right. And that's where we're starting with.
Jasmine Gripper is a co-director of the Working Families Party, and I still have in New York, and I still have a couple questions for you. I definitely see that. I still have concerns as someone who's like, 4 is a lot, 2 can be good. 2 is a stronger number to sort of remember in your head. Technically, do Democratic voters have to rank 5 people, or can they leave blank?
You can leave your ballot blank. You can. Great. Eric Adams told his voters last year, just vote for me, right? And like try to do the bullet voting. And, Andrew Cuomo is trying to run by himself. And we're saying, fill your ballot with our candidates. You can leave the last one empty. You do not put Andrew Cuomo. Do not put him on your ballot whatsoever. Because if not, that's the thing that will propel him to victory.
It's almost, and beyond WFP, who else is working on this? It's almost, I know you guys have a dream, like don't rank Eric and Andrew for mayor, or now the don't rank evil Andrew for mayor. But it's also like kind of like ABC, anyone but Cuomo, right? And I know obviously Zohran Mamdani, whose candidacy I think is amazing. I'm not a New Yorker, but really believe in some of the stuff he's putting forward there. It's like ABC, anyone but Cuomo, everybody else is going to rise. And it does benefit that he is running alone. It's not like they're running together, which again, ranked choice really does help smaller candidates. It helps you run a positive campaign. I love it, but it has to be gamed right. So I appreciate that, WFP is helping, trying to do the gaming and make sure that there's a real, someone who really represents working New Yorkers, who are the majority of New Yorkers.
Yeah. The other acronym out there is like ABZs. So Adrienne, Brad, Zellnor, Zohran.
I love it. Oh my God, that's a lot. Yeah. I mean, look, you have until, obviously there's a couple months to go for the primary. My question is about your slate, like in the general, excuse me. Last question. You all, I know, in primaries have endorsed, people like Jumaane Williams for governor, and Hochul won out. Then you backed Hochul. Obviously 2018, not to remind, but before we knew this much about Cuomo, WFP endorsed Cynthia Nixon, but then ultimately in the general endorsed Andrew Cuomo. Why did you all do that? Why do you have to do that technically? And why is this year probably going to be different? And if Cuomo wins the primary, I'm assuming you guys are not going to be endorsing Cuomo for the general.
So our ballot line is always earned and not given. There are rules in New York. In order to maintain our status as a political party, we have to hit a threshold of votes. Mm-hmm. And what people forget is Andrew Cuomo was in a deep battle with the New York Working Families Party. He has tried to eliminate us more than once.
Yes.
He once created the WEP to confuse voters with the WFP. And he created the Women's Equality Party, which is really crazy when you see what he's done to women. He also raised the threshold of votes we need to maintain our ballot status. So every 2 years in a presidential race and in a gubernatorial race, we have to get 120,000 votes or 2%, whichever is higher. And if we don't reach that threshold, we will no longer be a political party in New York State. And so those times where we put Andrew Cuomo or someone else on our ballot it was in those key election years where we had to maintain our ballot qualification. And two, those candidates actually committed to something that was really important to the Working Families Party. Mm-hmm. Andrew Cuomo, to get the ballot the last time, he committed to raising the minimum wage. We thought that the party leaders at the time thought that was important to make sure New Yorkers could have a higher minimum wage was worth putting him on the line.
Right.
And so those were moments where we leveraged the party's ability to be in elections and to be a political party to win something for our people. In this moment, I just feel like so much harm is done. We do have a democratic process. I find it hard to believe that WFP leaders will land at a place of endorsing Cuomo. We do not have to meet a threshold in this election. We can do whatever we want.
Oh, okay.
And so we have
doesn't
the freedom.
apply now. So that doesn't apply now.
No, there's no minimum threshold. We're not at risk of losing our party status in this election.
Amazing. So all bets are off.
It's to be decided. I mean, our focus is the primary. Our focus is to get one of our slate candidates to win the primary and then to put them on our ballot line. That is our plan. If that changes, we have I think about a 2-week window to decide who to put on our line post-primary.
Primary elections, I mean, the turnout is obviously a lot lower. How are you and how is the city sort of prepping people to come out?
Yeah, New York is notoriously low for voter turnout. New Yorkers, we got to do better. It's really bad. The last mayoral election, we had maybe just 1 million people vote.
Wow.
In the Democratic primary. Yes, we are. And when voters feel disengaged, they just stay at home. So we are making sure we're communicating to voters about the slate. We're making sure we're talking to voters. We literally just did a training last night to train leaders to be in their communities, to be ambassadors, to carry lit, go on their doors, to talk to their neighbors, to do phone banking, to do text banking. We will be out in the streets. The weather's nice. Today is a beautiful day in New York City.
Nice.
We're going to take advantage of the warm weather, get outside, talk to New Yorkers, make sure they know about the election. We have early voting. which we didn't have for years. It took New York a long time to get early voting. We finally have early voting. We want to make sure New Yorkers go out and vote early. And make sure they cast their ballot. So we'll be
That's
talking to New
huge.
Yorkers. We'll be at the doors. We'll be on the phones. We'll be texting you. And we're looking for more volunteers to get involved. Like, it's going to take an army to make sure we're communicating to everyone across the city that they need to vote and that their vote matters in this election.
What's going on, Frantifa? If you haven't already, subscribe to this channel right now. Hit that button. And also, you can become a patron and support the show every single week. Get access to bonus episodes and exclusive merchandise. Patreon.com/bitchuationroom. Do it.